Hi, and welcome to this video about sight words, high frequency words, and decodable words. There's a lot of language floating around there when it comes to sight words and learning sight words with your child. And one of the terms that is most commonly confused is the idea of sight words, decodable words, and high frequency words. And so today I want to break down what each of those are and how they're related to each other. So if you have not yet, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit like on this video. So there are three terms that are commonly confused with each other, and they are sight words, high frequency words, and decodable words. So today I want to break down what each of those are and give some examples. So first of all, sight words. Sight words at their most basic are any word that you can read just by looking at it instantly. It's a word that you don't have to sound out one sound at a time. So for children, there are some pretty common sight word lists. You might be familiar with the Dolch sight word list or the Fry sight word list. Those are the two most common ones. And those lists are lists of words that the expert who created them feels that kids should be able to read independently just right away without having to sound the word out. But whatever words that your child can read independently, those are sight words for your child. So it might coincide with the words on the sight word list, and there might be some other words that are sight words for your child. Your child's name is probably a sight word for them. If they can look at their name and recognize it without having to sound out each sound, then their name is a sight word, even though it's not on the sight word list. The next kind of word that we need to talk about is a high frequency word. And just like the name implies, high frequency words are words that occur frequently, often, in the text that we read. So words like and, or to, or of, those kind of words are high frequency words because they show up over and over and over again in the text that we read. The sight word list, the Dolch sight word list and the Fry sight word list includes a large number of high frequency words. And often, because kids see high frequency words so regularly, they become sight words, words that kids can read without sounding them out relatively quickly because they have lots of practice. But a high frequency word might not be a sight word. If it's a word that your child sees regularly, but still has to sound out every single time they see it, that's a high frequency word for them, but not a sight word. Coincidentally, some of the sight words are words that your child might not see very often in printed text, but your child might still recognize that word. So in that case, it would be a sight word for them, but not a high frequency word. The last kind of word that we need to talk about is decodable words. Decodable words are words that kids can sound out by using the phonetic alphabet that they learn. So if they can look at the word, break it apart into sounds, sound out each sound, and then blend those sounds together to make the word, then that word is decodable. Some sight words on the sight word list are decodable words. They're words that kids can sound out. But some sight words are words that cannot be sounded out, no matter how much your child knows about phonics or no matter how much they try. So a common sight word that can't be sounded out is the word is. So in is, the I says I, but the S says z. And that's not a normal sound for S in our language. And so is not a decodable word, but it is a sight word for many kids. If they can see that word and recognize it, then it's a sight word for them, even though it's not a decodable word. Many of the words on the sight word list are decodable words. And so if your child can learn phonics and can understand how to recognize those sounds and then blend them to make words, that can really help them to be able to learn the words on the sight word list and to become familiar with those words because they can sound them out using phonics. So just to recap the three kinds of words that we've been talking about today, a sight word is any word that your child can read by sight without having to sound out. It might be a common word that they see everywhere, a high frequency word, or it might not. It might be a word that is decodable and it might not, but any word that your child can sound out is a sight word. It doesn't have to be located on one of the sight word lists, just anything that your child can sound out. A high frequency word is a word that occurs often in the text that your child is trying to read. Again, maybe on the sight word list, maybe not. And then a decodable word is any word that your child can use phonics to sound out. This is confusing because we have these sight word lists that list a bunch of words that may or may not be sight words for your child, may or may not be high frequency words, and may or may not be decodable words. So hopefully this helped to clarify the difference between the 3 different kinds of words. Please feel free to leave any comments that you have in the description below the video. And remember to hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel.